right, guys, we're back. Another Empi Insider show. Kind of got a moderately cool dude with us today.
Moderately cool. I like that. I like that.
Moderately cool, sometimes attractive. I'm sure Ange will chime in and to debate that. But very excited to have my dude, Cameron Ferre, also known as Top Fuel Cam, in the house today.
How's it going, everybody?
We snuck him in the back, mask on.
Nah, I just took my mask off for the show, guys. That's why we're standing a little further away here.
We just thought, man, we figured it's kind of gloomy, it's kind of rainy, depending, at least for Southern California, it's kind of nasty.
Yeah, it was pouring rain at my house this morning.
Yeah, and I'm like, man, let's just talk cars again. I know that my listeners really enjoyed last week's episode of just kind of shooting the breeze, talking Volkswagens, talking horsepower and car stuff, but I'm like, okay. So then I get a call from this guy, says, hey, man, I know a little thing about horsepower, 11,000.
Yeah, 1 or 11,000, that's right to look at it.
But this is the man that drove the Empi Top Fuel Dragster at Pomona. But man, we just wanted to get together. First of all, awesome response last week, though, guys. I really appreciate all the comments, all the DMs, everything you guys were sending us from around the world. It really means a lot. I look at every single one of those. And kind of thinking about what we're going to do for, like you do with your stuff, and you're kind of looking to see what's going to be the next on the show and what we should do. But, some of the people that chime in, dude, sometimes, and I'm sure you get messages and notes, it's like, there's some people you look up to in the industry, and you're like, holy shit, like, that dude commented on my stuff. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I have a podcast myself, so it's really cool to do this. And
way to plug it.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you tell everybody your podcast?
Well, we're just 2 minutes into it, but... I do a podcast called Racers and Rental Cars. It's a motorsports business marketing-esque type of show, and we have a lot of guests on with it, not just drag racing. It's heavy drag racing, just because myself and the co-host that we're both drag racers, but we
shout out to Don O'Neill.
Yeah, that's right. Shout out to Don. We do interviews with a lot of stuff, whether it's supercross, monster trucks, drag racing, sprint cars, NASCAR, whatever. But it's more about the business side, the nitty-gritty thing, the behind-the-scenes kind of thing. So, we've had a couple guests on the show that are kind of like my idols, like Larry Dixon and Clay Milliken. Yeah, Larry Dixon and Clay Milliken, like those guys are like two people that I fully strive to be in life. So it was cool to actually have them on my show. It's pretty humbling. So. Yeah. So
check them out. Racers and Rental Cars. He's on iTunes.
We do talk about how to screw up your rental car too. Yes. Behind the hotel and things like that. What our favorite exploits is what we like to call them. But it's just all around fun show. I mean, check it out. It's on Apple iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, all those generalized platforms, and so it's a good time.
The dumpster fires are always good.
Dumpster fires sometimes, with electronics and technologies, they get screwed up all the time, but we run with it. It's really funny. We have quite a cult following when it comes to our dumpster fires that they really enjoy it. We have Don. We call him Don's Rant, and he just goes off about whatever. And then sometimes I get up on the tires as well, have a beer or two, and get the real story.
Getting lit. Beer or two, you're usually on the floor. Half a beer limit to the.
I mean, I gotta stay slim for that race car,
Yeah, me too.
140 pounder, when I jump on the scale. So
I hate you. I remember 140
when you were 6?
Fifth grade.
Hey, I should have been in a car seat until high school, technically. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm a little bit older than you, but the car seat could have been the back shelf of the old station wagon, family truckster. But
there you go.
But man, it's just cool to kind of get together, hang out. A lot of people were asking questions. What the hell is Empi doing here, and what's going on there, and why are we spending next doing this, and that's kind of what this whole podcast for me. I think we want to call it a podcast. This show, because we podcasted. We're putting it on YouTube now. Stay tuned for that, guys. In about a week, you'll see him on the YouTube channel.
There's his plug.
Yep. I didn't wear my shirt today, so just because
you got the good hat on today.
Yeah, I did. I found one of these. I thank your wife for me for giving me shout out to Ange for giving me a free hat for me. But just the whole purpose, and kind of, it's kind of what you're doing. But yes, I do work for the Big Blue Empi, and so it's like it was my way to kind of give people insight to what we do, and in my own words, right? It's
absolutely. A lot of times everything gets super corporate, and people think that these companies are super corporate, and that was kind of the tie-in to approaching Empi and doing this whole Top Fuel thing. Like, Empi has been a brand, an iconic brand since as long as I can remember. You know, I'm 34. I look like I'm 12, but I'm 34. So, you know, the company's been around double my life basically, and so ever since I was born, you hear Volkswagen, you hear Empi, and like when I was in high school and stuff, when we were screwing with cars, and you know, my best friend had a Baja Bug that we should just destroy. Like trying to.
This thing seemed more air than Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
Top Gun.
It was so, you know, everybody has a Volkswagen story, and that's what we wanted to portray with the Top Fuel thing. And everybody says, well, a Top Fuel car doesn't have a Volkswagen in it. Well, yeah, but look how much it resonated with people, and how many people saw it, how many people reached out to you, and it's all about brand awareness to let the company shine.
That's
you know?
key, you know, and really, what I'm trying to do, you know, with this whole thing and why we did the deal we did and why we had the Schlays at the March meet is to showcase, man, that in more ways than one, and in many cases, you started racing Volkswagens because that's what was affordable back then. And whether it was your next door neighbor that had one with his dual Weber carburetors and all these other things on it, or was used to pop a wheelie at red lights, and everybody has a Volkswagen story. That's kind of the slogan.
How many people that, you know, reached out to me, even like, you know, through Facebook Messenger, or, you know, direct messages on Instagram and stuff like that, like, dude, that's so cool. How did you pull that off with Empi? Like, I love them. You know, and then they start telling me their stories through their DMs, and it's rad, and it just resonates with people. And just because, you know, I don't have a Volkswagen necessarily behind me, you know, I got an 11,000 horsepower engine, it's still, you know, the core is there. You know,
well, we share the common bond. It's racing,
absolutely.
Right? It's the passion for motorsports. You know, I mean, let's be honest, dude. You're one of a very few limited handful of people that'll get an opportunity to drive a Top Fuel car and have the cods on them to do it, right?
Right.
Now, we can pretend that and love to aspire for that and feel like we're our own, you know, Cameron Ferre or, you know, or Schumacher or whoever it may be. When you get to that line, you get in the burnout box. It's just that we all have a passion for cars. But what I wanted people to understand is that we have a thriving business that's growing in the right direction, that's getting back to the core roots of where we once were. And that's what, you know, I wanted to put us out in the front, in the forefront of the business, because that's where we're going, dude. We're working so hard diligently here with the acquisitions, with the innovations, and with the products and how we're changing it. It's not going to change overnight, guys. We understand that. And there's things that happen, right? There's shit that goes awry. There's products that are not always the best, but we're working towards it, and we're only going to get better. But by putting our stuff out there like that, and to say, look, you know, we're here. We're not going anywhere. We've proven we're a timeless company.
Right. Well, just in putting a iconic logo on the side of a race car, it just goes to show you that how many people remembered it and thought, oh, I thought they were out of business or whatever. And like when you're going up, you want to put it in front of the masses, right? And how do you get in front of the masses? You get in front of, you know, TV time and things like that, and, you know, in front of 30,000 people at one event, and, you know, that type of thing.
Yeah.
You know, right now we're on a little bit of a hiatus, but
we're all hanging out. You know, that's why you'd probably be on a plane somewhere going something.
Yeah, I definitely would be. It's been
just
an interesting.
It's an interesting ride, man. But I think a lot of it sometimes just gets lost in narrow-mindedness or just. It's the bigger, grander scale. I jokingly say, hey man, last time I checked, you know, NASCARs don't run on Doritos or Coca-Cola. They run on dollars, right?
Absolutely.
But the way to do that is to put that brand out there to make people recognize that brand. And then, you know, the statistics and facts don't lie. You know, I mean, you know, some of the stats that we saw coming back just from the first view, you know, with like over 2 million views live, and then the countless impressions through Facebook and social media in excess of over 5 million. Pretty good ROI on a small investment to work together. But the most important thing, dude, and the coolest part of it is, and I shared this photo on our social media, dude, was you kneeling down with a kid, signing one of the hero cards. That's how we all started, dude. That's how I started. That's how I'm sure you started.
Yep.
And guess what? I can't go out and buy a Top Fuel car, Dad. You know, I can't do this, but I can get myself a Bug, and I can build that with my dad in my garage. And how did I remember that dude? Cam got this, and that's
right.
That's
and you
really...
can live out your own dream in a Volkswagen. I mean, just because I sit in the water box in a Top Fuel dragster doesn't necessarily mean, like you said, everybody in the world will have the opportunity to do that. But you can very well sit in the water box in something else, whether it's a Volkswagen or whatever, and still feel the same passion for motorsports and drag racing as a whole. You know, drag racing is a huge, very large community. Yes, there's a couple top fuel cars in the world. That let's say there's 30, including Europe and Australia.
I was just saying 50.
50, in the world. So it's pretty rewarding to be able to say that I was the kid that straight up didn't come from motorsports at all. I lived at the beach. I lived in Huntington Beach my whole life, and we were
surfer, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Kind of like I do shreddy life.
Yeah, that's right. So that's why Volkswagens were so big in my life, because I lived at the beach, right? I still do, and it's going from that to not being a name. My dad wasn't John Force or whatever, or it wasn't a natural progression. This is something that I wanted to work really hard at, and from starting literally at the bottom, actually below the bottom, in the dirt. To making it to this level is pretty inspiring to not only myself but to others, and to be able to bring a brand like Empi along with me in the journey, that's awesome.
It's so key, dude. And to really to think about that, and that's one of the reasons. I mean, let's be honest, we get approached daily. I mean, multiple times a day. I mean, especially since you were flying the Empi banner. But who we align ourselves with too is really crucial to go forward, and that's one of the things, dude. I mean, you're my friend outside of here, right? So it's.
But that's
why
also
we
part of it.
became
You develop relationships, and they grow. That's something that I strive to talk about on my show, and even to the little kids that I talk to at the ropes and stuff. You never know who you're talking to, and you never know what sort of network and relationship you can build with that person. I mean, like you said, we're personal friends, but it started on a business transaction, and we became personal friends, and then now we still do business together.
I still tell that story today. Yeah. I'm like, I told that dude that thing piece of shit, and, I proved them wrong, and I made it on my own, and they're like, what?
Right. And here we are, and that was almost 5 years ago?
At least.
Yeah, so it's pretty crazy how the world turns.
But that's what's cool. Like a prime example of that is couple weeks ago we were at Bakersfield, and we're sitting at dinner at the breakfast at the hotel with the Schley brothers and Adrian, the sales guy, and we're just start chopping up, and this guy next to us leans over and he just playing, yeah, man, you guys telling Volkswagen stories, and like, yeah, a couple of these old timers, and just kind of chopping it up. And he's like, come to find out, his is the family that owns the Firebird Raceway in Idaho.
There you go.
And I was like, dude, that's
the New Brothers.
Exactly. And I mean, we've stayed in contact now since Bakersfield, and exchanged a couple emails back and forth, and hopefully we can bring a VW event to there in 2021.
If you ever do that, that is a huge Boise Firebird Raceway. It's called Firebird Raceway, but it's not.
That's the OG Firebird Raceway. Yeah,
that's the OG, which is in Boise, Idaho. And I've raced there multiple times in a nostalgia funny car before I got to Top Fuel, and in my bracket car as well. And the place is awesome. It kind of looks like you roll into Time Warp, but it's really nice. They pack the stands on a Saturday night. It's not just I mean, I'm telling you, it's sold out when you go to a bracket race. That was the first time I ever went to a bracket race in my Super Comp dragster that there was literally full stands. And that's crazy. So I mean, to do a bug event there would be huge.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they did one some years back, but to just spend time and talk to a guy like that, it just proves that you never know who you're gonna meet, and to sit there and talk to this dude. Super humble, super neat, and just even how Firebird Arizona kind of asked for permission from the family, and it's just a generational thing, and to be able to again extend the olive branch, stay in contact. I mean, I made sure I dropped an email to him back and forth. We got back, but that's the great part about this is we all, whether you like Ford, Chevy, and VW or Audi, it doesn't really matter. We all have the same goal, and that's we love the cars and we have passion. We want to go fast.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Still faster than a door car, though.
That's true, because I've never driven a door car.
Winning!
Yeah. That's what's so funny. Is I've driven a lot of different things. I've driven, junior dragsters, front engine dragsters. Funny. The only thing that I've ever, I actually drove one 2 years ago for some testing. But the only thing I've ever driven bodied is a nostalgia nitro funny car, and that doesn't have doors. So
I remember we went to the tacos in the Nova one night. This is different. I'm
like,
you're looking over the guardrail a little bit.
Totally. Yeah, but I just never really had the opportunity. My career kind of went the dragster path, and I think door cars are awesome. I'd love to drive the heck out of one, but it's just always a little different,
Well, go ahead.
E Cooper 1020. says HR wants to make sure you are at least 6 feet apart.
Arm's distance. We're good. That's why we staggered on each side of it.
That's right. At least they picked
Hi,
up on it.
Erica. Thanks for joining in. Yes, steel toe shoes are on as well. We're good. But thanks for checking in, anyways. That just kind of leads into another segue. I mean, I'd love for you to kind of share kind of the story, really, how you got started. You kind of skimmed over, but I think it's so cool that shows your work ethic, your character, and some of the things you really did to get to where you are, and why I think that also is indicative of why so many people are willing to help and extend the branch.
Yeah.
For you to go.
Okay, I guess I could start from ground zero. I was just always the kid that always wanted to jump higher and faster than my brother. And I started racing bicycles when I was 3 years old at Orange Y BMX, and because my brother raced and I wanted to be like him. They wouldn't let me race, so with training wheels or whatever. So boom, those were gone, and I was full on racing at 3. And my dad used to have to hold me up on the gate and things like that. And then we transitioned into motorcycles. But our family was a huge surf, skate type of family. My brother and my dad are huge surfers, and then I surf as well. But it just, when my brother kind of took that career path in the surfing industry, I just fell in love with racing, like whether it was moto or drag racing or whatever. My dad took me to my first drag race when I was like 8 years old at Pomona, and he had me on his shoulders. I'll never forget it. And I was literally like 8, and I saw the first pair of Top Fuel go by, and I was like, holy crap, are you kidding me? And I was scared to death. My dad said the look on my face, but I was just in awe, and I was like, I'm going to do that one day. And my dad's like, yeah. Sure,
yeah. You can be an astronaut too.
Yeah, exactly. And so I walked through the pits, we left the stands, and I was just all jacked up, and I saw the junior dragsters on display, and it was right when junior dragsters were first kind of coming out, and I was like, Dad, I want a dragster, are you kidding me? I want to race junior dragsters. And he said, yeah, well, we're a surfing family, and we don't really have the means to just go buy you a dragster. We got 3 kids in the family, they're not really into it, you'll have to work really hard, mow a lot of lawns, son. And I was like, okay, fine. So I did it myself. When I was younger, I was actually an actor as well. So I started acting to make money to race. I told my parents, I said, I want to be an actor, but I want to make money to race. And that if I can take the money that I'm going to make and buy race cars, I want to do it. And my parents were cool. They're like, yeah, of course, whatever. Thinking, yeah, right, that ain't never going to happen. Well, I was lucky enough to be cast in a Warner Brothers motion picture, and some commercials and things like that, which I got a little bit of financial independence when I was 12 years old. And I was able to go buy my own junior dragster rig, trailer, motors, and all that, and I went racing at 12. And
couldn't get there.
No, I couldn't get there. My dad,
rig will travel.
Yes,
just need a tow.
my dad, and excuse me, our family best friend Craig, he took us out to Pomona, so I saw drag racing for the first time live at Pomona. My very first race in a dragster was at Pomona in a junior dragster.
That's so cool.
And then I raced juniors for years until I aged out of it, and I had a lot of success in juniors. I won 2 national championships and some Wallies and things like that, and some big races at Pomona. I won my first Wally at Pomona, and in a junior dragster, and then a few years later, when I transitioned into super comp dragster, I won my first national event in a big car at Pomona in super comp. So Pomona is my house when it comes to things, and it's been a really cool place for me. And within there, my parents always told me, they said, obviously we don't come from a bunch of money, but and I didn't make millions of dollars, but I got enough to kind of get started, and I just kind of transitioned my way and clawed and worked on sponsorship, and I'm a talker, I'm a people person, so I was able to network my way just through the ranks, and kind of went from juniors to, like I said, super comp. And then I worked on a team, an alcohol dragster team, for a couple of years to learn how to do the clutch and things like that. And then as I did that, I was able to get the opportunity to license after I won the national event in super comp. I was able to license in a Nostalgia Nitro Funny car, and I told myself, I said, I used bracket racing and super comp as a means to get into the big show, as far as at a national event, because I wanted to meet and greet people. And so it worked. So I won, I was able to meet some people, and then got into the nostalgia scene because I wanted to drive something that was faster than just a super comp car. So did the Nostalgia Funny Car thing for I think it was like 3 years, and then was able to get the opportunity to license in Top Alcohol Dragster, which actually the car that I drove was an A-Fuel car with Larry Mearsh, and I did that for, I think it was almost like 4 years. We had some great success. We almost won Indy. I runner-up at Indy. An Alcohol Dragster, I was like the runner-up king in that car. I think we had like 4 runner-ups, but and then I did that for years, and then got the opportunity to license in the Peyton Racing Top Fuel car, Top Fuel Dragster in Vegas, and got my license, debuted in Charlotte 2016, and got my first round win against Tony Schumacher, my very first race out. So that was pretty cool, and then I kind of went back to A-Fuel because I wasn't able to secure the funding to continue at Top Fuel at that point, and I stepped back down to Alcohol Dragster, which is a great class, by the way. I highly recommend that class. It teaches you a lot, and the speeds are fast enough. Yeah, it's still going 280 miles an hour.
And that's what Otten's deal, right?
Yeah, I went back with Johnny Otten and did that deal, and then got the opportunity with Haddock Racing, and I did all last year with Haddock, and then and continued with them this season. So it's been quite a journey. I never thought I always told myself I was going to be the guy that went from standing on my dad's shoulders at Pomona to driving Top Fuel, and I was actually able to do it, and at Pomona, which was like a huge thing for me, and like all my accomplishments, I've been able to do it. Now I just need to win some rounds and some races, and maybe one day a championship. But we're working on that. It's always a work in progress. It's always trying to find the funding and things like that. These are very expensive cars to drive, but with great partners again like Empi and things like that, we're able to kind of keep scrapping away at it, and one day we're gonna take the world by storm. I'm a firm believer in not giving up. My dad always told me when I was a kid, this is like kind of like totally cliche, but he always told me, like, Cameron, can't never could. He always used to tell me that. Can't, because if I say, oh, I can't do it, Dad, he said, well, if you say you can't, you'll never be able to do it. So that was always like my motto, can't never could, and it still sticks with me to this day. Like I hope to continue, and if not, like, it's been a hell of a ride, and I was able to say that I've driven Top Fuel professionally is pretty cool. And I've been 313 miles an hour, so
Very few can say that.
this is awesome.
The one thing, and just to kind of piggyback off of that, is looking at from not living it and not being family, right? But to watch your dad, especially, that dude lives and dies with you every single time. Your dad's not one to show much emotion. But I'll tell you right now, dude, when you're getting ready to strap in,
he's a nervous wreck.
He's a nervous wreck, walking around the damn thing.
Yeah.
Just
that's how my mom is too, and but she prefers to watch from home, but because she's such a nervous wreck, she says. But no, my dad's a proud dad, and which means a lot to me, and I'm proud to be his son. He's him and my grandparents, they instilled the work ethic in me that I needed in order to make this stuff happen. My dad is a guy that he won't tell you no. He just says, "Well, it might just take us a little longer to get there than most," and he's the hardest working man I've ever met, and I mean, the guy will work 19 jobs if he has to, just to give his kids and his family what they deserve, and I'm super grateful for that, and I hope that I can instill that into my son, and with my family, and I have a feeling I'm going to be in the racing world for a lot longer than I expect, considering the fact that my son is already in terror, and he's already full throttle, so.
Literally.
Yeah, literally. Whether it's on 2 wheels or 4, he's all about it. So, which is awesome, and I'm excited. I definitely won't push him towards it, but I'll give him every opportunity if it's something that he wants to do. But he's gonna have to work for it. So, it's not a given. It wasn't a given for me, and it's if somebody tells you no, you just gotta go to the next person.
You've been blessed to kind of work in the industry too, which does help. But just to kind of reiterate your work ethic and some of the things, I mean, I've seen you run yourself literally ragged. Yeah. Bags in your eyes.
Are they still there?
Yeah, the hat's helping. But, you grab a Thursday night red eye to make a Friday Q2 or Q1 session in hopes
Yeah.
You know, living in an airport, eating shit,
Mm-hmm.
you know, sleeping wherever you can.
Yeah, everybody thinks it's rather glamorous, but I will tell you, it takes a lot in order to do it, and everybody thinks that I'm making all kinds of money at this point in time, but I'm not. I do also have a full-time job. I am a college instructor at Cerritos College and Compton College. I teach auto body and paint as well, so that's an industry that my family's been in for a long time, and that allows me the means to go race on the weekends. So it's kind of a good tie-in. But yes, I did work in the industry before I did the teaching thing full-time and racing full-time. I worked for Racepack Data Systems for about 11 years. I was the marketing manager there for a long time, and unfortunately they were bought and moved across the country, so I stayed here in California. But yeah, it's one of those things that
It's like sacrifices.
Yeah,
dude. That's what, like, you give up your family vacation and PTO time to use those days because I need this
100%.
Thursday, Friday off, and I need this Monday off because I'm gonna be exhausted.
Yeah, it's funny. My wife and I were talking about that the other day. About it's really hard to go for job interviews and say, yeah, can I have this job? Can I make really good money? And oh yeah, I need like 60 days off a year.
Yeah, I need 26 weekends a
You
year.
cool about that? You cool with that? So it is a grind, but it's worth it to me. And you know, the satisfaction I get from standing or sitting in the top field dragster and stepping on the gas is nothing like it. And you know, I'm grateful to Haddock Racing for allowing me the opportunity to do that. And yeah, I hope we can keep it going. You know, it's like I said, it's insane to think that it actually happened, but yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And you even got married with a motorsports family too, though.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
what's neat.
You know, motorsports has given me pretty much my whole life, whether it's been the fun, the drive, the passion, and also my wife. You know, I mean, I met my wife through the racing industry and imported her from Canada. So I grew up racing with her dad in the nostalgia world, and I saw her, and the rest is history, I guess.
What up?
Yeah. Who's that? So yeah, so it's been cool that our families have meshed together, and she was raised at a racetrack as well, so she gets it, and that's the biggest thing is having a support system behind me that I do. Like, you know, my family is a huge part of my success in life, and you know, I like I said, if I didn't have my wife behind me, like you guys see all the cool parts that, you know, the social media aspect of life, but there's so much that goes into it, and the like stress of me, like you said, like the bags under my eyes, the red eyes, and you know, she's the one that puts up with it and lets me go do it and keeps the house from falling over while I'm gone and when she can't go, and yeah, you got to have a great support system, and I'm extremely grateful to have one of the best support systems.
She's rad. I'll give her a shout out.
She is rad.
And you're a badass and one of a kind for sure. You know, just knowing you guys, like I said, on a personal level, and seeing, I'll say, vulnerable moments or stressful times. You know, it's been really, really cool to see how you two support one another, and I mean that is your life blood.
Absolutely. And she's a racer now too,
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
she inherited my Super Comp dragster, so
Damn it.
Yeah, it's all over. I don't think I'll ever get in the seat after she's been in it, because she loves it so much. And now she told me the other day, she was on my podcast. I made her come on and talk about it, but she's like, I finally get it now. Because she's been around it her whole life, but she's never been a driver, and now sitting in the seat, she actually understands, like, wow, like I understand why you stress out so much, and I understand why it's so worth it to you, because there's nothing like it. And she's like, I have no desire to go 300 miles an hour, but you know, I want to go 180. So you know, she's all into it. So it's been a cool ride. So
Very cool.
we're not ready to hit the chutes yet. I always say that. So yeah.
No, there's so many moving pieces, and I, you know, when you talk about the series and gone so many weekends, and you know, I remember, you know, just a few years ago, you're like, yeah, it's a circus. I mean, it really
literally
is.
Yeah.
You know, I don't say carnies, but the carnies are picking up from one, going to the next stop.
You
and
unload the big top and race, load it back up, and move to the next city. And I joke with one of the crew guys on the Emily Terry McMillan's team. He, you know, we always used to pit. Last year we pit with them for, you know, literally every weekend for 24 weekends, and I used to always be like, hey, what's up, dude? And he's like, hey, what's up, man? flying? And I'm like, oh, just, how's the asphalt over there? Because literally, like, everybody thinks because we travel so much that we get to see so many cool things. Well, in my case, I fly in, literally get there at 8 or 9 in the morning from a red eye, go straight from the airport to the track, race, and then to the hotel at 10 o'clock at night, turn around and go maybe hit the gas station for a cup of coffee, and then back to the racetrack. So you don't really see much other than that piece of asphalt or that racetrack. So, and the airport. So I always tell everybody, I get to see the airport, the racetrack, and the hotel. That's it. So there's been a few times when I've gotten to see some really cool stuff, but the people you meet and all the experiences along the way, it's not necessarily the location, but it's the people and the experiences and the fun that you get to have along the way, and that's what I really enjoy.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
And it's cool for you to come on and share some of the stuff with us, and I mean, hopefully our listeners get a little bit of insight and kind of what and why guys like you do what they do. It's just multiplying it and taking.
Please let me know when you find out.
Yeah, I think you're a freaking moron. I was kidding. It's hard to say, man. It's very few are willing to take that risk and I guess the steps I'll call it the steps necessary to have an opportunity to drive, right, and to try to chase the dream. Very few will do that, and that's you got to have the guts to do it, and
you got to stick with it. It's all about follow through as well, because a lot of people, they'll say, oh, I'm going to do it, and they get to a certain point and then they say, oh, forget it. Yeah. And then you don't follow through, which, whether that's a sponsorship, whether that's trying to drive a certain car, or whether it's anything. People, they just say, oh, like, hey, sponsor me, man. And then they're like, okay, yeah, call me later. Yeah. And then they never call you, and it's like, okay, well, they guess they weren't that serious. So, whether it's follow-up or follow-through on any aspect of life, I think that's a great thing to do.
I remember several of our Thursday drive home conversations of decompression. I mean, the chasing the dollars, because these cars run on dollars. They don't run on anything else but dollars and broken hearts.
100%. And I mean, especially with the economy and the way the world works now with marketing and things like that people don't necessarily understand that part. A lot of people think that, sponsorship is just, they're going to write you a huge check and you put a sticker on the side of the car and you're going to get some TV time. Well, that maybe used to be the way that it is, but now it's the media, it's the things like this, it's the social media, it's what else can you do aside from bring sales to the company?
Added value.
Right, exactly. So, you as a brand, you got to look at yourself as a brand and see what you can bring to the table as well.
Added value. I mean, you've apparently started a few family Kickstarter monies, because I've seen several Empi hero cards with the dragster on it for sale on eBay.
There you go.
I couldn't believe that.
Yeah.
It was like Sunday you got them, Monday they were on eBay. and anything Empi, it cracks me up. But to be able to do that stuff, to be a part of that, to be able to work in the pits with you guys and be able to lend a hand on the car, and whether it's talk shit to Mario and the guys over there and have fun and lend a hand wherever I can, or just to be a part of something like that. I think
that's
awesome.
half of the battle is having fun. And when you stop having fun, it's almost not worth it, because it takes so much to do it that if you're not having fun, it's like, why? It's like you could go buy a boat and hang out in Havasu for way less and have.
Sounds good.
Yeah, right about now it does. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, things are kind of in a weird state because of what's going on in not just drag racing, but all motorsports as a whole. So it's cool to be able to come on here and say my story, and even that we're not racing. So hopefully we'll get back to racing sooner than later, and everything picks back up and things like that. But in the meantime, we just got to do whatever we can to support the people that support us and move on.
Yeah, just the ripple effect from all that's going to be crazy.
I got a question. Have you heard any estimated date as far as when things might get back to going and up and running?
No.
Any kind of...
Way to put them on the spot, dude.
I'm just asking.
As of right now, I can say that through what they say, Houston, which was in the next couple weeks. But I have a feeling my guess that's going to last a little bit longer, unfortunately. I can't say when we would be resuming just yet, because I can't say I've heard an official date, but yeah, it's definitely not going to be next week. But with that being said, I think that everybody's going to hunker down and build up their arsenal, and motorsports as a whole, and drag racing is going to be a thing to watch here, come the later summer months, or whenever things start getting hot and heavy again, because everybody's going to take all this time that they've had to nestle with their cars and do whatever they're going to do, and to showcase it for the world. So
build parts,
weld
blocks.
When you got a bunch of engineers sitting around and tinkering, that's when things start to progress.
Yep. And the ripple effect of all this stuff too, just the business aspect of it, how certain big sponsorships are going to have to adjust budgets.
Yeah, I know a bunch of people that have already told me that their sponsorships have already ceased, and that they've had to lay some people off and things like that. But it'll come back. It's just, maybe this is what motorsports needed, there with what's going on in the industry or whatever, and bring the value back to the sport, and not just, oh, well, how many likes did you get on Instagram or whatever. It needs to bring back the passion and the love that we talked about before on the show, like, why everybody does it, right? So hopefully that'll happen, and you never know, everybody might just quit and go iRacing. It seems to be the thing. So
that was pretty crazy.
Yeah, I will say I watched a little of it, and it's pretty cool. We talked about that on my podcast as well, and it's pretty great. It's like I was all into it. I was looking it up on a bunch of stuff about it, and I'm like, damn, these things are expensive. I'd have to sell a race car in order to do it. So, but I mean, I know you can get into it pretty cheap, or some of these rigs are like big money, and I almost croaked. But
just some of those, just the simulator itself.
That's what I mean. Like it's crazy, but I mean, people are making a living at it too. So, which is wild to me. They're just young kids. That's what everybody tells me. You need to just get your kid an iRacing setup, and he'll just be rich off of that.
It's like everything, right? The YouTube stuff, and I mean, how many YouTube millionaires now do we know of?
Yeah, it's
or even just a few friends like Stephanie Simo. I know she was jumping in one of the simulators. Those things were crazy money, but it's really expensive to run a car. But you can have a simulator spot on, every bump, nook, and cranny in the track, and
it's cool. I'd like to give it a shot. So if anybody out there has one, let me borrow it. That's fine.
Can I just fly in and race?
There we go. Yeah. No, because I've never really turned left per se. I mean, I have some racing go-karts that I wing around, but I don't really turn left or right.
Go pedal.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, the motocross stuff and BMX was the most I've ever really turned left and right.
When's the last time you went on a dirt bike?
Dirt bike? Full dirt bike?
I'm not saying going to freaking moto. I'm just saying going out and ride a dirt bike free ride or something like that.
Not recently, because I don't have any anymore. The only thing I have is I have a souped up Honda
Jet Strider.
I have a souped up Honda 50 it's all done up. So I mess with
a 50 with your body.
Oh, yeah.
Different than 50
I mean,
with my body.
Thing sits this high. I have that I screw around with, but I tell myself if I get anything other than that, I'll be in the hospital. I can't get hurt. That's
the chicken wing.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is I can't get hurt. So I've gotten rid of most of that stuff. I used to be, believe it or not, I was a huge snowboarder. When I was probably from, I don't know, about 12 out in the acting days to about 19, I had to make a decision when I was in that age. I was gonna move to Mammoth and pursue snowboarding or continue to race, and I chose racing. So
idiot!
I know, right? So a lot of that's something.
Damn goggles sponsorship. You know how much those are worth these days?
Yeah, no, I snowboarded about 4 days a week, and did I lived in Lake Tahoe when I filmed the movie, so I got pretty into it. So, but yeah,
see a fun fact though. Don't tell them, but I mean those listeners do some work real quick and chime in and DM us or post a comment in there and tell us what movie Cameron was featured in.
We had two say that they love Jack Frost.
There you go. It didn't take long.
There you go.
Well, that was it. So that was good.
Yeah, no, it was a great part of my life. A lot of people asked me if I would still act, and yes, I'm still in the Screen Actors Guild, and
current SAG card and everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
If I have the opportunity, I totally would. I keep it just because you never know, right? So like with sponsor relations, and if they ever have you do a commercial or something like that, it's just good to have. But people say, why didn't you stick with that? You could have made a lot more money. Well, it wasn't about the money to me. It was about, it was a means for me to make money to race, because racing is my passion. And when you're acting, people don't realize. They say, oh, why don't you just go do another movie? Well, it's not like that. It's like if you think it's hard to become one of 50 top field drivers in the world, like it's just as hard to become the next Tom Cruise or whatever. Like there's hundreds and thousands of people that are trying to be actors, and that's their major passion in life, is to be an actor.
Yeah.
So to go up against that, I was very fortunate to get the things that I did, and put me to the point to where I am now. But there's people that act or try to act for years and years and years and don't get anything. And it costs a lot of money in order to be an actor as well. Like you have to basically live in LA, because you're going on auditions after auditions, and people think, well, can't you just be in another movie? Well, you have to audition, and you're going up against hundreds or even thousands of people for that role, and you say you get 4 callbacks, they really like you, and it's down to you and one other person. You didn't get paid for any of that.
Yeah.
And then they say, oh, we went with the guy with brown hair instead of blonde, and you're like,
damn it.
Yeah. So
I used to $84 in gas.
Yeah, well, but back and forth, acting classes, photo, headshot, like all that stuff, like it adds up. And so you just have to pick. My agents told me when I decided to call it quits, I think it was like 18. And no, I was probably close to 20. My agents were like, hey, you need to decide, like, what do you want to do here? Do you want to race, or do you want to act? Because I was booking out every week to go race, and they said, you just can't do that, so you need to pick your passion and go for it. And I chose racing, which I should have acted a little longer and then maybe raced, but can't tell a 20-year-old kid what to do.
No.
Can't tell a 34-year-old kid what to do.
Definitely not.
Just ask my wife.
Yeah, confined spaces.
Yeah. How's everyone's quarantine going?
Oh man, but dude, it's been awesome to just watch it as an outsider looking in, dude. Kudos to everything you guys have done.
Yeah, and thanks to all the Empi fans as well. I know a lot of you guys were a little hesitant and curious as to the program, but everybody's really seemed to warm up to it, and it's really cool. And I'm glad to be a brand representative for the Empi brand and everything that comes with that. So, I really enjoy it.
Thanks. Thanks, dude. What's next? I guess really is just kind of.
I don't know.
Just kind of hanging out. Like
Yeah.
You're on free time right now, not teaching.
Yeah, honestly, I don't really have much going on.
Working on your tan, clearly.
Working on my tan, yeah. Podcast, trying to work on some more sponsors and things like that, but that's even tough because of the way things are going right now. But honestly, it's just I've had a really, really, really good time because I've been off already for 2.5 weeks. I've had a really good time hanging out with my kid and my wife, and my son is the light of my world, and being able to be with him every day he's rambunctious because he's a wild, almost 2-year-old, but yeah, I know it's crazy, but
half your size already.
Yeah, I know it's wild, but just being able to watch him grow and to take him to the bike jumps in the wetlands and all that stuff, ride around on his little electric motorcycle we got him and things like that. Like, there's nothing like it. It almost makes you like do all this stuff for a reason. I just want to make him proud and happy. And when he points on the garage wall and says "Dad, Dad, Dad, Dad," and all the racing pictures, and he wants to grab my helmets every 5 minutes and put them on, and it just melts you.
That's awesome, man. And that's kind of what we talked about a little bit on last week's show, and it's kind of just taking a moment to utilize the situation that we're all in to just take a step back, stop, take a good breath, and look at your surroundings and embrace really what you have and be thankful for it and then really just acknowledge it, man, because we get so caught up in the daily grind, the rat race, you chasing sponsorship dollars, what's the new next product, what are we working on here, what are we working on there, and to be able to spend that time with your wife, your kids, your brothers, your sisters, whatever it may be, not just your case, but everybody's case right now. I challenge you to really spend the time.
Absolutely. When was the last time you went on a bike ride with your wife and kid, or your boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever? Like, there's been down by my house at the beach, man. There's like, it looks like the 4th of July down there.
You're pissing everybody off with that.
I know, it's crazy. Like, we rode around our neighborhood, and I'm like, man, the parks are popping, and like, because people just don't know what to do with themselves. Like, I counted like 12 couples walking 6 feet apart down the boardwalk, like just by my house. And I'm like, wow, like that's cool. Like,
at least they're not moving. Yeah,
absolutely. You get quarantined or whatever, but they're not out spending money. They're just going for a walk. They're enjoying each other's company, and that's really cool. That sometimes society, I hate
it's not just in your phone.
Right.
I look at my phone. What's
and
next?
I'm really bad at that. Sorry, honey.
You make your money at your.
Right.
I get it, and I mean that's my job too. I understand it, but at the same time, it's like it was really kind of a breath of fresh air. Like, I played Monopoly with my daughter for the first time.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
yeah,
that was cool.
Heck yeah.
And just I kind of closed just last week about it, just being good humans, man. And we want to just embrace the situation as best you possibly can, deal with it, be good to one another, and just kind of run with it, man. And this this too shall pass. Right?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we're all strong-willed individuals, and I think it'll all end up just fine. It just might be a little hiccup, and I'm very saddened for a lot of the people that have lost their jobs or laid off and things like that. Like, my heart goes out to you guys.
I mean,
yeah, or have gotten this virus or whatever, and or somebody close to them, and it's heart-wrenching. And so everybody try to do their best to do their part, and don't touch anything. Stay 6 feet away. Do your thing. Have fun.
Wash your hands.
Don't go to the Huntington Beach Pier because it's closed now.
Yeah. I'm gonna get a beanbag chair from the police.
Pretty much.
Any other questions we got for us, Edgar? While we kind of wrap up? I mean,
No, just Brazil checking in, and Brooklyn says what's up, Cameron.
Hello.
That's cool.
Ashlyn checked in. She knew it was Jack Frost.
Stalker. But dude, honestly, man, we thank you from here. Whether it be from our CEO down to everybody else, and then the entire organization. It's been a really cool thing to watch, to be a part of, to just again, we're very prideful of our brand and kind of where we're going. We're proud of where we work and who and what we associate and do and making it better for the future. And it was cool to have you a part of that and for the future. I mean, everybody loved it at March Meet and autograph sessions from you. And that was another good caveat. Was like. We had the old guys, and I jokingly call them the old guys, but we had the OGs there from the original. The Bugs were racing those same exact cars,
right? And
everybody had a story there. And then to have the next generation essentially coming in and signing autographs there, while those guys enjoyed some of their time. And it's just that's really where my mind is going with this company, kind of pushing it. It was just cool to have you there. So again, thanks for making the drive out, dude. Thanks for being a part of all this stuff.
Happy to wear the brand on my chest. And hopefully we can continue and do some more racing and have some more fun and hear some more Volkswagen stories.
Where can they find you on social media?
You can find me at just my name, which is Cameron Ferre, just so at Cameron Ferre. That's on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, kinda. I don't really do a lot of Twitter, but I have one.
A tweeter.
But yeah, or Racers and Rental Cars. RacersandRentalCars.com, which is, like I said, the podcast. But yeah, other than
pick
that,
up a shirt from there.
Yeah,
Cam's got to eat.
Yeah, I got to eat. You can buy a shirt, or there's some of my Ferre and Company apparel on there as well. You can pick that up too if you like to support. But so I appreciate it, and yeah.
Fire.
Two things. Big Bad Racing is checking in. Says what's up, Corey.
Big Bad John, thanks for checking in.
And then Gary363 wants to know if you can show JC's jack stand with the shroud.
Yeah, we'll show you. We'll show it to you on. Well, we got to put another one on mock-up, but we'll show it. Just if you look back through some of the archives, it's there. But we'll get you a picture the next day or two out there. We just got to put one back on another stand because we've been turning stuff over. As you can see, constantly things are always changing and evolving. And
yeah, this thing's sweet.
Yep. People want to know when's Cam getting a V-Dub.
I told my wife that the other day. I said I think I want to build another one, and she's like, really? Where are you going to put it? I said, I'll put it in my dad's shop. So, I don't know. I'd like to do something. That's what's cool about Volkswagens. relatively affordable.
Still.
So in some cases, so yeah, I mean, I'd like to do one, you know, just slam it and with the Porsche wheels, you know, that kind of thing, and you know,
Cruising around. I figured you'd be a bus guy, being a surfer and all. I'm sure you're
no, I don't really, you know, I'm more of the bug guy.
Yeah,
you know,
that's cool.
I'd either do a Baja bug to go blast around in the desert, or do some sort of slammed.
I can see you guys in the thing though.
Yeah. My old boss had a thing that he had all long traveled out and had leopard flames on it and all that stuff. It was pretty iconic.
Yeah, that's what's.
Sort of thing.
And I know we're getting close to wrapping it up, guys. And I know we're getting close on time limit for the live feeds and stuff like that. But there's a lot of cars that you have had your hands in, painting it and body working it and spraying it. I mean, there's a reason why the guy's teaching what he is and what he's doing. But there's a lot of cool cars.
Yeah,
that you've had your hands in, and
I've grown up, like I said, in the auto body and paint world, and with that, we've been able to paint a ton of Volkswagens and a ton of race cars, hot rods, helmets, things like that, through my dad, and you know, he kind of taught me some of the ropes. And before I started at Race Pack and all that, while I was still in college, I actually ran a body shop, and at the body shop, we did a ton of Volkswagens because the owner was a huge Volkswagen guy. And he's the one who had the thing with the leopard flames on it. We would crank out Volkswagens all the time. He had like a Volkswagen boneyard in the back, and I mean there was probably 30 Volkswagens back there in his little personal inventory, and we would sell them on the Samba and all that, and like the whole deal. I mean we were getting really good money for him, like you know, like $100,000 buses and stuff. So I mean they were really, really nice. So it's, you know, I do have, you know, life in the Volkswagen world as well.
more stuff you find out, and facets to the Cameron Ferre diamonds.
That's right. I've sanded enough Volkswagen fenders to save a lifetime.
We're not done yet. We need to get you to do one more car, at least one more.
One more car?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Doesn't, you know, we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put the screws to it. It's gonna happen.
I might have some time on my hands here for a while, so maybe.
Yeah. We got a nice 58 that needs to be sprayed. So.
There we go.
Anyways, man, Cameron Ferre, Top Fuel Cam, Races and Rental Cars podcast, the pilot of the Empi Top Fuel Dragster, and Shooting the Breeze Empi Insider Show, episode, so I don't know, more than we can remember now. I don't even keep track anymore. It's just about sharing the common love for this little car that we all love so much, man. Around the globe, it doesn't matter race, color, creed, gender, doesn't matter. We all share a love for this flat 4 car. And thanks you guys for tuning in. Check out the new Empi website. It is live, empius.com. Check it out. We went live today on the new site. Lurk around, look it up, check it out. A lot of cool new stuff on there. It is warp speed ahead of what we were using before, and is only a small window of what the site is going to be in the very near future. Other than that, dude, that's it. Let's go get a Starbucks or something. But
Can't really do that. I'm gonna go put my mask back on and
I'll walk out the back.
Back into quarantine. So.
Anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Corey, Empi Insider, Cameron Ferre, Races and Rental Cars dude. We're out of here.